Today we're going to be using the Pythagorean Theorem to find the missing side of a right triangle. But before we begin, we need to go over what some of the vocabulary terms are when we are dealing with the Pythagorean Theorem. So first of all, the Pythagorean Theorem only works on right triangles. So that means one of the angles is going to measure exactly 90 degrees, and this little square here is letting us know that that is true and that this is a right triangle. Next, we have the name of the two sides of the right angle that form the right angle, and we call each of these sides of the triangle the legs. So just like we have two legs on our body, our right triangle has two legs or two sides, and again, they are always going to be the two sides that form the right angle. Then opposite of the right angle, we have the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse will always be the longest or largest side, and it is always the side that is not touching the right angle. So to kind of sum up what the Pythagorean Theorem states, it says that in a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. So we have the classic a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So a little visual representation of what that is here we have a right triangle. Here we have our two legs, a and b, because they make up the right angle, and here we have our hypotenuse c. So if we were to actually draw three different squares, and again, squares have equal side lengths. So if we took this leg here of side A and we made a square out of it, then that means that these sides here would also have to have the same length as this side. Just like over here, if we made a square based off of the leg of side B, each of these other sides of the square would also have to be the same length as B. And then up top here, if we made this square with side lengths of C, or our hypotenuse, then the other sides would have to match the same length as C. And once we do that, we could actually find the area of each of these squares. So A times A is simply A squared, B times B gives us B squared, and C times C gives us C squared. So if you watched the video before this on the starburst proof, you'll see that when we add a squared and then we add the area to b squared, when we put these both together, they will actually both equal the area of this squared, c squared. So just like when you mix blue and red, you get purple. When you add these two together, you get this whole area here. So here's going to be our first example of how we can use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the missing side. So, in this problem, what is missing? One of the legs of the right triangle or the hypotenuse? Correct, it's the hypotenuse, because the side that we don't know, C, is the side that's opposite of the right angle, and the sides that we do know, 9 and 12, those are both making up the right angle, so they're both the legs. So we're going to actually be solving this problem for C. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these values and we're going to go ahead and plug them in to our formula, or the Pythagorean Theorem. Now when it comes to our legs here, it doesn't matter which one's A or which one B is B. All that matters is that C, or our hypotenuse, is always by itself on the other side. So here I'm going to put little lines to kind of remind you that we're going to be actually dealing with the area of these squares here in a moment. So if we wanted to find the area of this squared, we would take our 12, we'll plug that in for A, and then we're going to need to square it. Then we'll take our 9, we'll plug it in for B, and then we're going to need to square it. And again, we don't know C, and whenever we don't know a number, we use a variable or a letter to represent that unknown number. And we know we're eventually going to be getting the area of this square, so we're going to need to square that. Well, when we do 12 times 12, we get 144. So that means this area here will be 144. 9 times 9 is 81, so the area of this squared right here will be 81. And then C times C, well, that's still just C squared. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go and add these areas. So when we add the 144 from here and we add the 81 from here, that'll actually tell us what the total area is here. And that total area is 225. And so what that means is it's this area of the square. But what we don't actually want to know is we don't want to know what the area is. We want to know what the side of that square is. And so to figure that out, our last step here is going to be to take the square root of 225. So we're trying to find what number times the same number will actually give us 225. And sure enough, that number is 15. So that means that this side length here must be 15 because 15 times 15 gives us 225. So here's example number 2, and in this example, are we going to be looking for an hypotenuse of this right triangle, or are we going to be looking for a leg of this triangle? So in this case, we know the hypotenuse is 24 because this is the longest side, which is opposite of our right angle, and we're actually going to be looking for a leg because this side is actually helping to create that right angle. So this one we're going to work a little bit differently. We're actually going to try and figure out what the side length of B is. So we're still going to set this up very similarly. We're going to take the two values that we do know and we're going to plug them in for the variables that we know. So we know that the hypotenuse always has to be C. So we're actually going to be filling in 24 for C. And it looks like they told us that they want us to find B. So we're going to leave B squared alone. And so that means we're going to be plugging in our other leg of 8 in for A. So when we do this, we're going to take 8 and replace it for A, so we get A squared. We still don't know what B is, so we're going to do plus B squared. And then again, we're replacing C with our hypotenuse of 24, so we're going to have 24 squared. And so our next step is going to be to find the areas of each of these squares. So we have 8 times 8 gives us 64. We still don't know what B is, so we just drop down, leaving it the same as B squared. And then 24 times 24 actually gives us 576. So now this is where this is going to work a little bit differently. So remember, we know this area is 64. And we know that when we add the area of this square plus the area of B squared, we get the area of this one over here. So we're not going to be adding these two together because this is already going to be the biggest square. And if we add 64 to 576, we're going to get an even bigger area. So what we're going to actually do here is we're actually going to subtract. We basically need to take 64 starbursts out of this 576, and whatever that remaining amount is, that's the area of this square over here. Or if you're just solving this equation like we normally would, if we wanted to get this variable by itself, we would have to create a 0 pair here, and to create a 0 we had to do the opposite. So we would have to subtract 64, and whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And when we do that, when we take 64 away from this 576, we get 512. So that means the area of this square right here is 512. But even though that's great, that's not what our final answer is going to be because we don't want to know what the area is. We want to know what is the side length. So the last step to figure out the side length is to actually take the square root, because the square root will tell us what each of these sides have to be, so when we multiply them together, we get 512. Well, 512, that's actually not a perfect square. So when you type that into your calculator, you're going to get this decimal. And when we're working with these decimals, we're going to be rounding to the nearest hundredth. So that's when we really want to be careful and we want to make sure that we're paying attention. So this is the hundredths place. So we're going to need to round this number. And it's actually the number to the right that tells us whether this number is going to stay the same as a 2 or if we're going to round it up to a 3. So remember, if this number to the right is going to be a 5 or bigger, we'll round the 2 up. But if it's a 4 or less, we'll go ahead and keep it as a 2. So because that number to the right is a 7, that is bigger than 5, that means we're going to go ahead and round that 2 up to a 3. So our final answer will be 22.63. So that means our side length here of B, our other leg, is 22.63. And that makes sense because we know it has to be smaller than our hypotenuse, which is 24. So that's going to take us to our third and final example. So again, looking at this right triangle, we want to ask ourselves, are we looking for a leg here, or are we trying to determine the hypotenuse? So we are trying to determine a leg because again, this side right here makes up the right angle. So that means it's going to be the leg. So we actually know the hypotenuse. We know one of the legs, but we're going to find the other. So again, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take the two values that we do know and plug it in. So which one of these letters will we plug 8 in for? So which letters will we plug 8 in for? We have to plug 8 in for C because C is always the hypotenuse. So we're going to go ahead and leave A as A, and that means we're going to go ahead and plug 3 in for B. So we're going to have our A squared plus 3 squared, because 3 is going to be our other leg, our B, and we're going to set that equal to 8 squared because 8 is our hypotenuse, because it is opposite of the right angle. And so we're going to go ahead and square these. So that gives us A squared. 3 times 3 gives us 9. And 8 times 8 gives us 64. So again, what that means is this area is 64 and this is 9. And because we're looking for one of the smaller sides, we need to subtract the 9 away from the 64. We need to take 9 out of here, and what's ever left over will give us the area of this squared here. So when we subtract 9, we'll actually find that that remaining amount is 55. And that makes sense because 55 plus 9 gives us 64. And again, this is telling us the area of the square, which is great, but we don't really care about that right now because all we want to know is how long this side is. And so our last step is to take the square root of 55. And when you do that in your calculator, you should get 7.416. And again, we want to round to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to look to the right to decide if we're going to round this up or keep it the same. So if the number to the right is a 6, do you think we should round up to 2 or keep it the same as 1? We are going to be rounding this up because 6 is larger than 5. And again, 5 or larger means we'll round up. So that means our final answer will be 7.42. And again, that's going to make sense because 7.42 is smaller than 8, which is our hypotenuse. And both of our legs have to be smaller than our hypotenuse because this always has to be the longest side. I hope these examples are helpful, and good luck on your practice problems.